Hey, what's up? It's Rashad. Antonio, OG, of course. Ahsoka, episode 5. What's the name of this episode, Tony?
Shadow Warrior.
Yeah. All spoilers. Got to talk about the thing to talk about the thing. And I really feel like episodes 4 and 5 are like one big episode. Like
hmm
in my mind, that's kind of how I envision it. It's
hmm
obvious 4, 5, and 6 are gonna be like the trilogy or like the arc, and then 7 and 8 are going to be like a part 1 and part 2. This is kind of what me personally, like I've been waiting for like the entire time. I mean, this is what like this is why we here. I'm just saying, Tony, like this is why we're here.
I'm just gonna say this. You know, you and me, we caught some flack for our views, 2 weeks ago or whatever, in our main view. And basically, our main issue with the show has been that it didn't feel like an Ahsoka show. It felt like Rebel season 5 live action, and we just kept saying to ourselves, we want some more of Ahsoka. We want some backstory. We want to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We want to feel like this is the first episode to me that feels like it's an Ahsoka episode.
Yeah, it was
And it made it,
very Ahsoka centric, and
yes.
to be completely honest, still hasn't answered all of our questions.
Right, right. I mean, right. It still hasn't answered all of our questions, the burning questions that we have, especially with the relationship between her and Sabine and what happened.
Mhm.
Um, this episode also kind of didn't. Okay, it kind of didn't explain how she got to the world between worlds, but I've kind of put two and two together why it happened. You just want to go ahead and hop onto this or whatever? You
Yeah,
got
yeah,
anything
yeah.
else?
So
Okay, go
World
ahead.
Between Worlds pops off, and we see Ahsoka, of course, with Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And what is Anakin in this realm? Because Anakin, it almost feels like he is like a conduit of Ahsoka. Because to be honest, she's really fighting herself. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
manifestation of, the ghost warrior, which is, of course, Anakin,
Mm-hmm.
and her trying to figure out what this quote unquote lesson was. To be really, really serious, like you gonna have to figure that out because they're not really spelling
Yeah.
out what
Right.
lesson she needed to learn. And to me, like the overall lesson was kind of like I said a few weeks ago on somebody on IG, is her learning to deal with loss and actually like moving forward, because that's really what this episode was really about, is Ahsoka's grief. You know what I'm
Rashad,
saying?
I just want to stop you right there. That is exactly what I said after seeing this episode. This episode was 100% about her fighting her grief and dealing with the grief of her. And she's blaming, and here's the thing, she's blaming herself for what happened to Anakin. She's kind of always been like, well, if I was there, this wouldn't have happened. If I was there, this wouldn't have happened. The episode starts off where Hera lands on the little Stonehenge, little monolith, whatever thing you want to call it, where the battle between Ahsoka and
Bayla and Shin.
Balin
Yeah.
Skull and Shin and all of them happen. And she's looking like, yo, what the hell happened here? She sees the
Yeah.
broken little, you know what I'm saying, ball map and everything. And, little curious Jacen, little curious Star Wars kids, Jacen Syndulla's like, hey, Ma, can I come on out? And she's like, yeah, come on, but yo, stay close to Chop and me, man, because we don't know nothing about this planet. They hear a sound, and it's good old Huyang, and you see Huyang mourning, and he's like,
Yo, wasn't
and
that like
he's just
hella sad?
that was hella sad. He's holding Sabine's helmet, and he's like, I told
Told
them
them to stay
to
together.
stay together, and they never listened to me. She asked what happened, and he's just like, hey man, I don't know. I don't know where they're yet. Like, because he was back at the ship when all this stuff
Yeah.
went down. He ain't
Yeah.
know what happened. So, the credits roll, and then we come back out to Ahsoka and Anakin in the world between worlds. And this is what we really wanted to see. Like, yo, what the hell is going on here? with this situation. And Anakin is it's like his it's like he says later on the thing, he's a part of her, just like she will be a part of him and stuff. It's like his force essence is in the world between worlds, and he's like, yo, I've been watching you. And he was like, you know what happened? And she's like, no, he was like, yeah, you got beat. He basically told her, like,
That was hilarious, yo.
yeah.
Yo, he lost, yo. Like,
he said, she said, you lost. And she was like, oh, yeah, him. He was like, yeah, it's starting to come back to you now. And then she was like, well, what am I doing here? He was like, yeah, I got you here. It's like he brought her there to that area to be like, yeah, we're gonna you're gonna complete your training. And she's like, what you mean complete my training? He was like, yo, we gonna complete your training. And she was like, all right, master, what lesson we got? Are you gonna live or are you gonna die? And she's like, what? He ignites his lightsaber, and she's like, yo, I'm not about to fight you. And he's like, yep, I heard that before. And
from
I think that's kind
her.
of from her. And that was when he was Vader and they fought at Malachor. He was like, yep, heard that before. And he goes in for the attack. She ignites hers. And they're having, like, you know what I'm saying, a battle. And shout out, it was so good to see Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker again. Listen, I'm a person that's always been kind of critical of his portrayal of Anakin Skywalker. I always felt I think it would have been so much better if DiCaprio would have really did the movie, but he didn't do it. He did Hotel Rwanda instead of doing Star Wars, and he was like he didn't want to be part of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he get like an Oscar nod for that?
I don't even know, but yeah, DiCaprio was.
Yeah.
That's who George wanted to be Anakin Skywalker. So they're having their lightsaber duel. Back in, I guess you can say, the real world, you know, Huyang and Hera are talking like, what's going on? Our favorite magical space Asian, Carson Teva, he comes around and he's like, hey, home base is like, yo,
where y'all at?
Where the hell are y'all at? What's going on here? What you want me to tell him? She was like, hold on. And Jacen Sedula is like sitting on the ledge of where, you know.
That boy is sitting on the dock of the bay wasting time.
He really was. And he just kept, but the thing is, they're talking, you just see him like just making facial expressions like, hold on, like, and he's like, Mom, and she's like, not now, it's just like, she's like, look, not now, Jacen, and he's like, no, Mom, and she's like, what, boy, what do you, basically like, what, boy, what do you want? She's like, yo, I said something, do you not hear that? And she's like, hear what? The waves? He was like, no, I'm like, he's like, no, like, I'm sensing something, like I feel something out. And she's like, what? She's like, you don't hear it? She's like, hear what? Like the waves? And he's like, no, listen. And she was like, what do you hear? She's like, you're like, yo, I hear lightsabers fighting. And she's like, huh? And so she closes her eyes and he's like, she's really concentrating. And like, I think she caught a glimpse of it, or heard a glimpse of a lightsaber crash. She's like, yo. And she's like, all right, y'all, let's get in these ships and let's fly over the ocean to find out what's going on. She was like, yo, good job, Jacen. And Jason's like, yeah. And like, Carson was like, yo, man, we already did this. What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing here? And they're like, yo, fly low. And Huyang like, yo, this kid right here, he got some stuff going on with him. He got some powers. And she was like, what are you talking? He's like, yeah, his father was a Jedi. And Carson, when he said that, Carson was like, oh, all right, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
And thank you. Straight name drop Kanan Jarrus. Like, yeah. This boy has abilities. Kanan Jarrus was his daddy. So put some respect on Kanan's name. You know what I'm saying?
And Carson was like, oh, bet. All right, let's go. So to get back, so you back in the world between worlds. And Ahsoka and Anakin are like going at it or whatever. And Ahsoka gets a lick off on Anakin, like with a kick to the face. And she's like feeling herself like, are you sure there's any more you need to teach me? Anakin's like, I ain't teach you everything. And he straight up like used his lightsaber and cut like the little light path thing in the world. And Ahsoka started falling. And this is when the episode to me like really gets like, really, 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 really good. Ahsoka's falling, and like she's just free falling, and then she like she like lands, and she's like in the planet, and you're looking, and when you're looking, you're like, oh, those are clone troopers, and the clone
Yo,
troopers are running and everything, and Ahsoka is a kid again. She's back being like a teenager,
yes.
and for those that don't know, the young lady that played young Gamora in Infinity Stone
What
and
did it cost you?
Endgame, what did it cost you? Everything. She is young Ahsoka. Let me tell you something. That little girl is set for life for money as far as it coming. She's gonna be doing
Tony.
Comic Cons the rest of her life.
Tony.
Yo,
Like, and
and she's a
like,
Disney
I
kid.
just,
She a Disney kid too. On top of that
yeah, I
as
didn't even
well.
realize that till like last night I looked it up.
Right.
Yo, when I'm okay, I just want to give young Ariana and Greenblatt her flowers
Yeah.
because when
Mm-hmm.
I mean she embodied young Ahsoka so
Let me tell you something.
well.
Let me tell you something.
Looked just
She
like
had she
Ahsoka.
looked just like Ahsoka, and she had the mannerisms down to a T. She
Dog.
listen, the one mannerism she had down to a T was the Ahsoka arm fold. The young Ahsoka, it looked like they basically pulled Ahsoka out of when she sat there later on. We'll talk about that scene, and she folded her arms like Ahsoka used to do. It looked like somebody just grabbed Ahsoka out the TV screen and she was real life and put her right there.
Tony, when
That little girl did her thing at that role for real.
there's a shot of her, like the camera is panning, like, like the camera is facing like her back, and it's panning like,
Uh-huh.
and it's like going backwards.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, yo, it's just yo, man, like they did a really good job
That
casting,
was a
and yeah, man, that was a
yeah.
great job casting her, yo.
Yeah, great job, Cat. There were rumors of who people that was supposed to play younger Ahsoka, but they did a
Yeah, because they
great
was
job.
saying like the
One of the young
girl
ladies from
from
House of Dragon.
yeah, and also the other girl from Spider-Man Homecoming, his love interest in that joint was supposed to be playing her
Oh,
too, supposedly.
Lori Howard or something like that.
Yeah, something
Lori
like that.
Howard.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see her as she was playing like mid-20s Ahsoka. I could have seen that mid-20s, but this one playing young Ahsoka was excuse me, effing fantastic. What
You
I'm
already
sorry.
said it. No,
Yeah,
no, it
sorry.
was no. It really was perfect, man. Like
Yeah,
great. All
and
right.
then we
We
saw Anakin, Clone Wars Anakin in his outfit. I said, yo, this is, and we saw real life Rex, Captain Rex as well. Man,
shout out to
it,
Mark Morrison. Actually, I'm glad they actually brought him back for this.
yeah,
Because if they
it
didn't,
was
it
just
would have been trash for them not to. But yeah, he came back for this too.
a great scene, and she was just like, Ahsoka was like, hey, yo, like we in the Clone Wars. And Anakin basically was like, duh, yeah, we here in the Clone Wars. And she was just like, yo, this is like one of the first battles we had. And he was like, yeah, let's go. And she was like, what are we doing here? He was like, I don't know. Like, this is it's kind of like, I don't know, this is your vision, this is your mind, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It like they're charging and they're battling and stuff. And then it cuts, I guess, to the end of that first part of that battle where you see all these clone troopers are like either hurt or dead, and they're being worked on by medical droids and stuff. And Ahsoka sits beside one that's on one of them little floating tables, and she puts her hand on his arm, and he like reaches over and grabs her hand to console her, to be like, yo, it's okay. And then the conversation starts between her and Anakin, because Anakin's like, hey, come on, so we got to get ready to go. He said, they said the separatist army is like on his way back over here. And she's like, why am I here? Like, and they're just having a conversation, and she's just it's almost like a cathartic conversation for her. She's like, what am I being trained for? He was like, yo, you a warrior. He just kept referring to her as a warrior. And she's just like, man, I've been fighting. Like, this is all I've known. Like, what if
yeah,
I don't want to fight? What if I don't want to fight no more and stuff like that? He's like, yeah, whatever. He was like, you'll see. He was like, she was like, am I gonna have to train my Padawan like that? And then Anakin, because you got to remember, Anakin never want, he didn't want a Padawan. This was kind of
Nope.
like Yoda said this would be good for him to help develop him, and it did to an extent. And she was like, he was like, hey, he was like, what makes you think you even want a Padawan? He said, it's not as hard. What did he say? He said, it's not everything it's cracked up to be or whatever, basically. And she felt a certain type of way. She was like, yo, what you mean by that? And he was like, nothing, I'm joking. He was like, nothing. And she was like, no, what you trying to say? Because she felt that as a slight against her. Like, am I a problem? He was like, look here, yo. It's not, he was like, look, it was a joke. And she says, how can you joke at a time like this? We in a war. And he was like, look here, you part of my legacy and all this stuff. And he was like, look, man, he was like, I'm trying to teach you how to be a leader. That's what I'm trying to teach you. And he's just like, I'm trying to teach you to be a leader. I need you to lead. I need you to, because Ahsoka is, I guess, what you can say after leaving the Jedi Order, she is an unwilling leader. You know what I'm saying? It's like she knows people are going to come to her because she's a Jedi or trained to be a Jedi. And she's just like, yo, I'm not trying to do that. You know, she comes off as she's not really trying to do that. And so by this time, the Separatist army shows up, and he was like, "Come on, Snips, let's go to war. Let's start fighting again." And then you start to see some of the best like cutting stuff in it. When you see Anakin walking, and he has a blue lightsaber, he's Anakin's side, and then you see like a little jump in his Vader, and then he turns into Vader with the red lightsaber, and then he turns back into Anakin, and you see her looking like, "Oh, snap," or like what's going on here? I loved every scene they had with that. Then what happens next, Rashad? I can't.
The joint transitions into. I mean, I'm sorry. We jump back to Don't we jump back to them on the
Yeah, we
planet?
jump back to Hera,
Jump back to Hera on the
Syndulla.
planet, and them on the planet. They're finding.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
skimming the
They're
ocean,
skimming
like
the ocean. Yada yada.
trying
Chopper
to,
says, "Hey,
yeah.
get low." We're just gonna wrap all that up right now. So they end up having to Carson like, yo, they calling for us. We got to get back. So they call to the ship. They touch down. They ain't seen nothing yet, and they get a little, you know what I'm saying, little Star Wars FaceTime from what's your girl
holla
name? Oh yeah,
message,
yeah, from Mom
holla message
Mothma.
from my
She's
Mothma.
like,
Yeah.
look, yo, where y'all at? I mean, you know what I'm saying, Senator Organa can't hold this off for so much. You know what I'm saying? So we get a little quick layer reference. Like they gave us all. Filoni was like, I'm about to just shake loose this whole bag of toys, and you're gonna get all this today. So Leia was trying to soften them too, but they ended up sending a couple of New Republic ships over to that area. So like they're en route. Back to Ahsoka.
Hold on real quick before that.
My bad.
So the conversation Huyang and Hera had, I think.
Oh yeah. Talk about that.
Because she's like, she's talking, and she's just like, and he's just like, yo, like, Huyang, what do you think she could be? Like, you just can't disappear like that. And he was just like, hey man, Lady Tano, you know, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Cause he's like, look, I know like her line. Like he said last episode, like, hey man, you know, your line of you know what I'm saying, of Jedi Master Padawan, y'all kind of like the rogue folk a little bit, you know what I'm saying, has been rogue or whatever. And she's like, she's, you know, said she was like, Lady Tana was very resourceful or whatever, you know, her master Anakin was another thing. And then Hera was like, yo, what was he like? And he's just said, intense. I said, wow. You know, and his eyes squinted in. He was like, oh, he was intense. Right. And then he basically told her, Hera too, like, hey, yo, you are like them. Like, that's why people like you, because, you know what I'm saying, you basically marched to the beat of your own drum. You know, you came out here without permission and everything like that. But he was like, yo, like, it's, Ahsoka is, you know what I'm saying, resourceful, and he's very intense.
Yeah, because I mean, hold on, like it was like Huyang like said something really important, especially for character development for people who don't know Hera. He said, you follow your heart. You know what I'm saying? That's why people love you. The droid, you know what I'm saying, is telling the human their humanistic characteristics, you know what I'm saying? Like telling them about themselves, which was very very good little soul drop. Like I like that's the type of stuff that I appreciate because now the oldest can understand like why everybody like why Hera is a freaking general right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
back to the War
Whew.
Between Worlds. We
My God,
transition.
Rashad.
We
My God,
transition
Rashad.
into one, and we transition, sir, into Clone Wars episode. I mean, season 7, episode 10, I
Episode
think.
10. Yeah.
And we go
Oh my
to the
God.
daggone Siege of
Siege.
Mandalore. Like when they was fighting, I said, "This." I was like, "This kind of looks like Mandalore." But then I
Right.
saw the daggone Mandalorians. I said,
The
"Oh
Mandalorian.
snap!
Yeah. And
They
then you
did
saw
it."
you saw her troopers with the orange face paint on there with her face paint on it.
Yes, yeah. And
They
then we see Rex. We see
yeah.
Rex in all his glory again. I'm like, yo, this is so good.
And then
Because
that's when you see when I saw that I said the Ahsoka mannerisms are down to a T. When she put the lightsabers back up, folded her arms and did the little Ahsoka pose that she always did. I said this girl is amazing playing her. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Rashad.
perfect. No, no, you good. I'm just fixing my stupid camera. So yo,
Uh-huh.
like, so then Anakin pops up like, man, where we at? Yo, I don't
He's
know.
like,
This don't look familiar at all to me. And she was like, yeah, this is Siege of Mandalore. We was not together when this popped off. Because in case you didn't know backstory, Siege of Mandalore happens. This all happens around the same time as Order 66 is about to
mm-hmm,
begin.
mm-hmm,
Maul, Darth Maul, in case you didn't know, he actually came back. There's a whole story with him. So either way,
yeah,
he comes back and he ends up ruling Mandalore.
mm-hmm,
And Maul has a sect, SECT of Mandalorians that are loyal to him.
mm-hmm.
And he gets them and they're, ruling Mandalore, and Ahsoka comes to free Mandalore,
Right
and it
with
was her, Bo-Katan, and
mm-hmm,
some other night owls. I mean, I'm sorry,
yeah.
owls, not night owls. My bad. It's Black Panther. Anyway, so yes, some other owls.
Uh,
They come back to what I'm saying
liberate
to liberate
Mandalore. Yeah.
Mandalore. So this is kind of like the middle of that.
Uh-huh.
So he not recognizing this, and then they had this conversation about essentially not one like she was like, yo, like why? Like I don't still not understanding the whole point of this lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And Anakin's
He
just
was
getting
like,
pissed.
yeah, remember what he said? He said he actually gave her props, like, yo, you was
You're
a
a
good
good. Oh
leader
yeah,
here.
you're a great warrior. I
You were
trained
good,
you to be a great
good,
warrior. You know what
good
I'm saying?
warrior. And she's just still getting like really triggered about that. Like I don't want this to just be. And he was like, and so Anakin is like walking away, and he's having this conversation with her with his back to her, and he's like, "Look here, you are part of a lineage. He says, you're going to take, you're taking with you part of me, you know." Just like I took part of Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master beforehand. You're part of a lineage here. And he's like, you have to basically tell her, like, yo, make a decision what you trying to do here or whatever.
Yeah, hold
And
on, real
she's
quick. Which
like,
is actually just referencing Huyang a couple episodes ago, telling what you call it that, telling Sabine that Ahsoka's from a long line of uncharacter. Well, let's say what was the word he used? They were
unorthodox or something.
unorthodox Jedi's. Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
huh. Or whatever. And, and she's like, yo, but I don't want to fight. I don't want to lead. I don't want to fight. And that's when Anakin was like, back to the beginning. He just said, back to the beginning.
She was like, "What?"
And then she was like, what? And then he was like, I said it once and I'm going to say it again. Do you want to live or do you want to die? He unhooks his lightsaber and the red blade comes out and he turns around and he has his Sith eyes. And the whole time I was watching this, I was like, this is the Anakin Skywalker that the Emperor wanted right here. Like, this would have been fully
Yeah,
powered,
yeah,
unhinged Anakin Skywalker. Like, listen, we saw Vader unhinged in Rogue One, but Vader is not even, I think, at like about what, 80, 75% of what Anakin Skywalker would have been. Anakin
Probably less than
proceeded,
that. You know what I'm saying?
probably less
Like,
than that, but he was still super powerful
oh
as
yeah,
hell,
because
though.
because like what he couldn't make up for in physical power, he made up for in the Force.
In the Force, right? So, man, Anakin pulled that red lightsaber out and just started going in on Ahsoka, and he had the Sith eyes, and he booted her back into, he booted her out of the daggone, yo, he booted her out of the sequence of them on the siege of Mandalore through a cloud back into the world, and he started walking towards her with the lightsaber, with the red lightsaber, and it was flashing back and forth between. So at this point, it's not Anakin. It's Vader, but it's Vader
Yeah,
he's Vader without it.
it's like when he was
It's
fighting
anti-Vader.
Obi-Wan. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right. He was Vader at that point, but then
When
he
he killed
started
the
seeing,
younglings.
right, and he started flashing back and forth between him and the armor and everything. And I mean, she was just like, yo, what? And she tried her best. She was trying her best to fight this dude off. Anakin was like, what did he tell her? He said, "You lack conviction."
Who said that? I feel like that's a line. I feel like somebody said it
that's
already.
a line from
That's a
somewhere. I
callback
can't.
from somewhere, yo. Like
Somebody in Star Wars said that,
I
and
cannot
I
remember
cannot.
who though.
Yeah, he was just like, "You lack conviction," and he's just rolling up on her, and she's trying to fight, and he like took both her lightsabers away, and then she finally like just stepped to the side, and was able to disarm him. And it this scene right here was basically the quintessential aspect of what the Sith wants. A Sith master wants its apprentice to be strong enough to take over. That's the one thing Palpatine was always disappointed with Vader about, because in the comics and the show, he was like shows and stuff, he always wanted Vader to try to take, and Vader was just, he was basically Palpatine's lapdog. He look, man, after Padme died, he was no more good. He was like, look, man, I'll just do whatever you want, man. I ain't trying to have all this and everything. And so basically, when Ahsoka disarmed him and took the red lightsaber and had it to his throat, you saw Sabine. You saw Ahsoka get Sith eyes as well. Did you notice that, Rashad?
Yeah, that's literally the thumbnail for this video.
Man, she got them.
I screenshot that this morning, yo.
She got them Sith eyes. I said, "Ooh!" And she was getting ready to like deal a death blow, and she said, and she just turned the lightsabers off and said, "I want to live." And then you saw her eyes go back to her bluish silverish color she got, and Anakin looked at her. He put his head down and he closed his eyes. His eyes went back to normal, and he was like, "Good job, Snips. Good job." And then he vanished. And she was just like, yo, like, where did he go or whatever? And I think that's what was the thing that made her realize, like, yo, I need to be a leader. I need to have patience. And I need to basically do what needs to be done. And then she starts to sink in the world between worlds into like water. And that's when you saw that's where the signal that Chopper had located
Chopper
her.
found, and they went and they
scooped her up out the water, got her. She rested. My man said, "Yo, you was out for a whole cycle, basically a day or whatever." So she was out. She was out for. She's like, "How long was I? Was out for a day." And then she was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, man. It's a good thing young Jacen." He said, "It's a good thing young Jacen saw." And she was like, "Jason's here?" Like, oh, she's like, "Oh, he found me. Oh, okay, whatever." And you saw how like excited he was, and you also see that she goes from a different color. From her robes to gray to white. Let me tell you something. This was very Lord of the Rings parallelish, as Gandalf the gray becoming Gandalf the white. You saw Ahsoka the gray, and at the end of the episode, she was wearing all white and everything.
So
like that. So she was like,
and the parallel to that was purposeful. because Floyd already
Mm-hmm.
said like that's what kind of he was thinking about. Because even like this, okay, so boom, you got Gandalf when he was in what Two Towers when he dies
Uh, he
supposedly
dies in it. No, he dies at the end of the first one.
in the
When
first one,
run,
and
run! He fell off a
he
cliff
fell
just
off a
like she
cliff just
did.
like Ahsoka. You know what I'm
Run,
saying?
you fools!
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He falls off the cliff and then boom, he comes back. You know what I'm saying even more powerful and even
Mm-hmm.
more focused because like
Mm-hmm.
Gandalf is Gandalf is goofy. I know, like I know y'all revere Lord of the Rings, but like him as a character, he be real playful with stuff. Like you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
the parallels to them is really it's a straight line. So you definitely was
Mm-hmm.
right about that.
Yeah. And so, they're still trying to figure out. So she figures out too at the same time. They tell her, hey, Sabine ain't here. What happened? She basically does like a force like pass, echoes of the force to see what happened, to realize what happened after she fell over. And she gets the visions that she has in her mind of what happened where, Balin Skull basically manipulated her. He
Do
lived in
it.
her mind. Do right, basically, and everything. And then she was just like, we need to figure out how to get to her. And she looks up and she sees the Purgle, and she basically like, hey, I know what to do. They all get in their spacecrafts. She goes up, and they're in the Purgle pod that's flying. And Huyang was like, yep, there goes the biggest one right there. That's who you want to. And she gets out on the wing of her ship, and she's force communicates with the Purgle like, hey, I don't know if you know where my girl is, but we need to hitch a ride to this other galaxy. We know y'all been there. And that Purgle opens up his mouth and allows, what I'm saying, allows Sabine, not God, did you say Sabine?
Ahsoka. That's okay.
Ahsoka's ship to fly in. And during this time period, like I said, we said earlier, the New Republic ships came in questioning, like, hey, y'all far out here. Where the hell y'all been at? And this and that. You need to tell Sabine, you need to tell, there we go again,
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka and Hera, Ahsoka and Hera, they need to report back to base or whatnot. And Carson Teva was like, hey, man, we here on a secret mission, this and that. And then he was
Yo.
like, you ain't gonna believe me if I tell you, but here you go. And I guess he explains it to her. And then she's like, what? And the next thing you know, Hera's like, hey, Captain, yeah, y'all might want to move y'all ships out the way. We coming. And you see the pod of Purgle coming. And next thing you know, Hera talks to Ahsoka, says, hey, yo, wish Ahsoka was like, yo, I wish you could come. And she was like, look, hey, yo, Jacen's too young to jump to another galaxy. Yo, I know you're gonna be all right, bring him back. Purgle charge up. They head to the next galaxy. End the episode. Great episode, man. Great episode. I have really no real major complaints right now. Still
Uh-uh.
looking for some things that happen with Ahsoka and Sabine. Maybe they'll happen over the next 3 episodes or whatnot. But great, great episode. And like you said, this episode and the previous episode was basically one whole episode.
Yeah, man. It was good. It like the last two episodes have been some of the best Star Wars we've gotten in like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know since like Mando season two.
Yeah.
It's man like it just was really good just overall.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, I think this has been some of the best traditional Star Wars we got. Andor's, I
Definitely,
think,
yeah.
Andor had some great stuff in it, but this is the best traditional, Star Wars that we're used to, and that the general public has been used to, that we've gotten, like you said, since probably Mando
Yeah, no
season
disrespect to
two or
Andor, and
whatever. Yeah,
I mean, on the real, like even Andor, the first three episodes was slow as hell. So like,
yeah, right,
I'm gonna need
yeah.
y'all. It's a lot of revisionist history. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying. But anyway, but
I mean, it
yo,
is 3
man,
episodes left, brother.
3 episodes left. We're going on the trip. You know what I'm saying? Going to find Ezra and Sabine. Now we got to find Ezra and Sabine. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
This
I know
is
some people are wondering like how old is Ahsoka. I looked it up. Ahsoka in this right here is 48 years old.
yeah. Sucking grown
48
woman,
years
y'all.
old.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sucker's definitely grown.
Sorry, your Dawson grown.
She is. Shout out Night Nurse. Anyway, I that's all I got for this one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, great episode.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
all we got,
that's
man.
really it, man. That's a great episode,
Yeah.
man. Great Star Wars, man. We will see you guys next week, episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
Think me kitchen the
Follow
pot.
us.
Yeah, follow us on the things, man. IG,
Yeah.
TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, upon
YouTube.
further review. A
Yeah.
shout out to my people on streaming on saying the podcasting. All right, y'all.
Yeah,
Till
man.
next time.
Peace out, y'all.